Hello, good afternoon from Mumbai. My name is Nimit Dixit from Economic Times Legal World. I'm here with Prateek Bansal. Prateek heads tax and trade at one of India's fastest growing law firms, White and Brief. Hi, Prateek.
Hi, Nimit.
How are you doing today?
I am very well. Thank you, ET Legal, for having me here for for this exclusive conversation.
No, of course.
Yeah. So, thank you.
Arey, of course, yeah. Thank you for coming. And we're always excited to talk to experts about what is considered quite a boring, yet in the last few years has become one of the most exciting practice areas, both from a customer perspective and from a business perspective, as well as a foreign investor perspective, to be honest with you. But before we jump into all these issues, we're going to be talking to you about GST. We're going to be talking to you about all the litigation and the raids that are going on, all the fun parts of it. We're also going to be talking about Trump tariffs and a lot of other stuff with you. Hope you're ready for all of that. But before we do that, I want to understand you're from Kanpur, right? So Kanpur mein, I don't think there are any law firms. Are there law firms in Kanpur?
No, there are hardly any law firms as such. I mean,
What is the culture like there? How is it considered to be a lawyer in Kanpur?
So I think in any tier 3 or tier 4 city, there are only two practices of law, which is civil and criminal, right? Now, when I moved to Bombay, you have so many different practice areas, mergers and banking and real estate and tax and IP. So it's a complete 180-degree shift in the approach, in the approach to the legal profession as such, right? And obviously, in Mumbai, we have liberty or the luxury of having one of the greatest legal minds. So I got an opportunity to sort of got trained and work with all these legal experts, the who's who of the industry.
Can you name some people for us?
Uh,
Who do you look up to?
There are a lot of senior advocates, whom we keep on working regularly on various matters, not only the litigation but also the advisory part. Wherever we are facing any complex legal interpretation, because in tax it's all about tax positions,
Correct,
right?
correct.
So the tax positions which you take in your day-to-day business activities is what determines your
Correct. Okay,
contingent
okay. No,
liability in the
before we get into that, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions about that. I want to stick to Kanpur for a bit. I want to ask you when did you realize, coming from a city like Kanpur, like you said, there is a it's a different understanding of what a lawyer is, right? There in Kanpur. I'm from a small city myself, so I understand that before I moved to Bangalore. So, but I want to ask you, when you first told your family that you want to become a lawyer, what was the reaction, and how did you take that before you came to Bombay?
So, like I said, in tier 3 and tier 4 cities, when you talk about a lawyer, the image and the perception which everybody has is of that civil and criminal lawyer who is practicing in a district court, right?
Correct.
Now, obviously, in Bombay, it's a completely different world. So, I had to obviously convince the parents, and they also
They were like doctor,
took some
engineer.
time. Yeah, I mean that time there was an entire phase of engineering going on, wherein everybody was doing engineering, etc. So they also took some time to come to terms, but yeah, I mean obviously there were challenges, but yeah, I mean it's a good exposure ultimately.
No, of course,
Yeah.
of course. So coming from Kanpur to Mumbai, and a lot of people are coming now. I see, especially with the law firm culture and the kind of money law firms are also offering, and the kind of practice areas that are growing out. A lot of people have come from different cities, the best minds, legal minds, and especially with law universities now, the CLAT system, and people studying in different universities, they get the opportunity to come to Mumbai. But then the unique thing I found about you, Prateek, is that you somehow chose tax as a practice or as an interest area. Where did this interest in tax come from for you? Was it just something that happened, or was it a premeditated, well thought out decision for you?
So during the law school days, we are all supposed to do internships, etc. We, all of us did that. During that internship phase only, when you are trying out different practice areas, you are doing litigation, you are doing corporate, you are doing all other things, you somehow realize that this is your calling. So when I was in that internship phase, I tried everything, but then I realized that end-to-end litigation, like everyday litigation, probably is not my cup of tea. Similarly, for corporate, I realized that after a point it became a little monotonous for me.
I agree.
Because you are essentially just working on the set formats which are there, right? So in tax, the unique part, and which sort of keeps me hooked to this practice area, is that every day you have to brainstorm, strategize, and marry the facts and law and come up with a new strategy every day. That strategy, that solution has to be tailor made for each and every client and each and every case.
कोई एक स्पेसिफिक मोमेंट आपकी लाइफ में जब आपको पता था कि हाँ आई लव द जॉब दैट आई डू?
When you get some good orders from the court, or when you propose some innovative solutions for the clients, when the clients are coming to you, probably because in this today's world, Google world, the clients are more educated than us. When they are coming to us, they know probably more than us. So what is that one thing which you need to tell them, which they would not have thought, or probably others would not have advised them to do that. So when you come up with those kind of solutions for them, so for example, I'll tell you, there are like few clients in whose case there's a lot of pre-GST litigation going on, right? We don't know when that litigation will come to end. That litigation obviously is lying in the books, it's affecting the valuation, etc. While that litigation is on, we also suggested, why don't you try amnesty? We did that entire number crunching. We sort of analyzed their liabilities. We estimated the liabilities on the basis that if 10 years down the line, when the litigation will reach to its logical conclusion, what will the liabilities look like? We did that analysis and we realized, oh, going under amnesty makes much more sense for me. So, we opted for it. So this is what sort of, makes me feel happy that you are bringing some tailor-made solutions for each client.
Oh, good. We've gotten to know a little bit about Prateek, the man, and Prateek, the person who became a lawyer. Now I'd like to know about the law from Prateek a little more. And I have a few pressing issues that I have looked up. And of course, you will be telling me more about them. I think the biggest issue, Prateek, that we'll discuss is something that's round the corner on September 22nd, is GST 2.0.
Yeah.
We're looking at the biggest revamp of the GST regime since its origin. The government intends for costs to come down on the consumer, and those benefits to essentially then spread through different sectors and different parts of the business cycle as well, and then better our economy. Some people also say that this could be a knee-jerk reaction to Trump tariffs. There is a view on that as well. I'd love to hear from you firstly, initially, when you heard about the revamp into the double tier slot. Of course, there are still a few other things that fall in different tiers, but broadly, we're in a double tier system. The GST rates have come down. What were your initial reactions on two fronts? One from a consumer perspective and also then from a business perspective.
So firstly, I think let us just go back, and you should remember this GST rate rationalization exercise was on the cards since a while now.
Okay.
I don't think it is a reaction to the tariff which is being imposed by US. The GST Council had, I think probably 2 years back, had constituted a GOM for examining that whether we can slash the rate slabs and bring it to more simpler version. So this exercise they were planning since long. Obviously now it has been implemented. As far as my initial reaction was concerned, I think when the government implements any law, I think what is most important is the execution or the on ground implementation of that provision, right? So as far as intent is concerned, the intent is really good, obviously to increase the consumption, to probably benefit the common masses. But the major problem which I think we have been realizing after talking to all the consumer goods companies and obviously talking to the common man also is the implementation and the on ground execution of these provisions. When a consumer goes to a ready-made garment shop and if he sees that the GST is not being reduced to 5% or 0%, that person, that man does not have any remedy recourse to report that situation to any authority or to any government body. So that is where the enforcement is lacking as far as the consumers are concerned. Now, as far as businesses are concerned, till 31st March 2025, there was a provision of anti-profiteering under GST. That section is still existing in the book, but the machinery provision had that sunset clause, and till 31st March, they were accepting the applications for investigating a business if they come to know that the business is doing some profiteering. From 1st April 25 onwards, that provision, that machinery provision is not there. Now, the businesses are kind of clueless what to do, how to do, right? So, they don't know that how this profiteering amount or how this benefit is to be computed. There is no method of calculation. First. Second, there is no mode of passing on the benefit. Few people may say that I will increase the grammage in our products. Few people will say I will issue credit notes. Somebody will say I'll give discounts. So we don't know that what mode is the appropriate mode to pass on this benefit to the consumers.
But wait, this is for the GST 2.0 or this is a previous problem?
This problem was there previously also, and this problem is now coming up with the GST 2.0 also, because whenever there is a rate change, whenever there is a benefit which is going to accrue to any business, they will have to pass on. Now, the law as far as previous situation when we had transitioned into GST, that law has not yet been settled. The matter is still pending before Supreme Court and Delhi High Court. So there's a situation of uncertainty and unpredictability as far as businesses are concerned.
As a common person, we see a lot of these raids happening. We see a lot of tax investigations happening. We don't even understand them very often. I don't understand, is there a process by which this happens? Is there a notice that is served to a company? Or sometimes can these raids just be without any notice? Can it be complete? Is there a case that's already pending and then as part of that a raid has been filed? Are these done in secret? Why are they called raids? Because generally what I understand is the system is quite transparent, like a case is filed and based on that case an investigation is done. So where do raids come in here? And how do they work?
So, firstly, we need to also understand why does this happen?
Yeah.
This happens because a business or a company might have taken some tax position which is non-aligned with the legal provisions, right? So, which is where, let's say, the department thinks that, okay, you have not paid GST on certain supply which you are supposed to pay, or you have taken some input tax credit which you are not supposed to take. Something like that. Now, in GST, both the provisions are there. First segment is obviously the entire audit, assessment, appellate, everything, So the department has the authorities to issue you an audit notice. They have the authority to issue assessment notice wherein they will ask for certain data, documents, you support them with all the requirements, and then they scrutinize and then they come up with a demand that, okay, this is what we think the demand should be. It is up to you whether you accept it or litigate it. The other part is, which you are talking about, the raid part. That usually happens when the department comes to know of a situation wherein there is some fraudulent activity or some suppression has happened at a large scale. So that is where they just come at your doorstep unannounced, and that is what essentially is a search or a seizure or a raid is, right? So usually when they come, they will ask for certain data, documents. They'll ask you to just be there only. You cannot use your computers, your mobile phones, etc. Now, once you are into the raid, like the department officers are in your premises, I think the only thing which a company or a business should do is to support them. With all the documentation, be very cooperative with them, because
of course this depends on the facts and circumstances.
Yeah. But in most of the cases, if you are cooperative, that gives an indication to the departmental authorities also that, okay, they are ready to help cooperate and there is no suspicious activity which is going on here. Once you start withholding information, once you start disputing what they are asking for, obviously not the unreasonable demands. I mean, I am not suggesting you cater to those unreasonable demands, but within the four corners of law.
People are always looking to invest in India despite the regulatory hurdles. I mean, regulatory hurdles have in fact become less now, right?
So
there was a time where
it does not stop, but it discourages. So the foreign guys, when they look at this litigation situation and the uncertainty or the unpredictable situation, they get very discouraged.
I think one of the biggest things that everybody was talking about today are the Trump tariffs. And Trump tariffs, of course, we know about the 50% tariffs, we know how we got there, we know where we are today, and we actually have quite a bit of indication on how much of our industry is going to suffer. Sweeping changes, right, have happened. What are we looking at in a 5-year plan from now or a 10-year plan from now from a tax perspective?
So I'll tell you, this Trump tariff situation is very volatile. It depends on a lot of geopolitical factors. You see, I was reading, I think 1 or 2 days back or today itself, that US is still trying to sort of, make India sit on the table to crack the trade deal. So we don't know whether it will continue, to what extent it will continue, to which sectors it will impact.
Do you have any practical example of what challenges these guys are facing?
So the biggest challenge is obviously how to and who will absorb the cost of this tariff. Because the US president, he does not want the cost to be ultimately transferred to the end consumers there. That is the entire point. So he wants the foreign countries like India to absorb those costs in their profit margins, and hence he wants to discourage that.
That's not going to happen. That's
Exactly.
not how tariffs work.
Exactly. So that is the thing. So now what we have been advising our clients is that you have to renegotiate your contracts with your customers in US. You need to make probably X factory sales, wherein they come and pick it up, the products from your factory in India, so that this entire transportation, tariff, everything is taken care of by them only. We are also advising our clients to check for any leakage as far as tax or input tax credit is concerned, so that if there's any saving which can be brought in to sort of absorb to whatever extent that tariff cost, that is what we have been advising our clients.
Very interesting. तो आप ये बोल रहे हो कि वहाँ जाके मत बेचो, यहीं आके उनको आके लेने दो आपसे.
That's the logical
very
solution,
interesting,
right?
Yeah, very interesting. Now I move from one of your first pet peeve, tax, to your second pet peeve, which is trade, which you also headed White and Brief. I want to talk to you about quality control orders. There is the BIS or the ISI licensing that now foreign importers into India are required to have.
Yeah.
A lot of people say this acts as a non-tariff trade barrier, and it sort of adds to the compliance requirements and the costs that foreign importers have to sort of pay to come in to do business in India. From an ease of doing India perspective, how do we sort of balance, and we understand that quality control is important, right? Quality control is for the consumer. So how do you balance consumer protection and ease of doing business in a scenario like this, and how should companies that are looking to do more business in India deal with these sort of added requirements?
So I think one thing we need to understand, that what is the purpose of these quality control orders. The purpose, the primary purpose, obviously, while to ensure quality and sustainability, but I think one of the main purposes is also to put to make India self-reliant in whichever sector it is brought in, right? So it acts as a trade barrier on the imports. Now the process obviously is little sort of tedious, I would say, for the foreign manufacturer, because you have to take a license from BIS. There's an audit which is conducted by the BIS scientist who actually physically goes to your factory located outside India, audits that factory and takes the sample, gets it approved, etc. And it's a long drawn process, time consuming as well. But we need to also understand the ecosystem of that industry and that product in the country. So we have seen many industries wherein when the QCO was brought in, we hardly had any domestic manufacturing. We were largely dependent on either mostly China or other ASEAN countries, or probably a little bit of Europe. When the QCO was implemented, obviously the government, now there's a certain demand which is there in the country. How will you meet that demand when the ecosystem is not there? So you have to grant licenses to the foreign manufacturers so that the imports can come in and the demand can be met. But that cannot be a permanent solution. So what the government says is that while initially we are happy to grant those licenses, over a period of time, either those foreign guys or the domestic manufacturers, they should see the opportunity, they should invest, and they should make the ecosystem. They should create the ecosystem of that product in India, and that too backward integration, starting from the raw material. The only thing is that the government should be cognizant of this fact, that as soon as we are moving 4 years down the line or 5 years down the line, they should be cognizant that how to strike a balance between the domestic manufacturing and the imports, because then we don't need imports, right? If we have the domestic capacity, we have unutilized capacity, then we don't need imports. So then in that situation, there are certain checks and balances which probably government has to.
If I can ask you, are there, as from a legal perspective, how can a foreign importer then protect themselves from such a scenario?
The foreign manufacturer sitting outside India, no, they really can't do anything about it.
Okay.
I mean, it's a policy decisions which the government is empowered.
This is just like the online gaming ban, like
Correct.
you said.
Correct.
So if that happens, then that's it for them.
But that's what US also is doing with us, right?
Yeah.
So everybody does that to protect their own manufacturing and their own economy, right?
Absolutely. The larger argument is that the tariffs are about bringing manufacturing to America.
Exactly. I mean, we saw the other day Mr. Trump sitting with all the CEOs of tech industry, and he was asking candidly to the Apple CEO that how much are you investing in US.
Yeah.
So I mean that is the objective.
Yeah, I mean, before I let you go, Prateek, this has been a very fascinating interview. We've covered a lot of interesting topics, but above all, I want to understand from you why White and Brief, firstly, if you could answer. Okay, first, let's stick to that first. Why did you join White and Brief?
So, I mean, when you are, so it depends on your personality, I'll tell you frankly. When you have that entrepreneurial aspiration and when you have that calling to start something, when you have the intent and aspiration to build a brand or a banner, I think that is what brought me here.
But you were very young when you became partner here, right? It's very odd. Wasn't it odd for you? Did you feel like you were in shoes that were too big for yourself? How did the industry take it? How did you respond to the industry?
So I think yes, you are right. Everything came pretty early, but my always focus was on delivering good work. Frankly, I mean, I always till today we always focus on bringing value to the clients, doing the value addition. I have seen newer firms and newer lawyers starting their own things. Many times we have realized that people run after the fees, money, expanding their territorial presence in the country, everything. I personally never focused on that. I remember when during the initial phase we used to go meet the clients, we always used to tell them that you need to give us the smallest and the most difficult job which you have, and then you see our performance, and then you give us anything
Very
else.
Interesting.
Right? Because today we are competing with big fours, we are competing with big banners. The only sort of asset or the wealth which we have is the skill, the work which we can deliver.
Do you have any family in law?
No, I am
Your
the
first generation
generational lawyer.
Which is another big challenge, especially coming from Kanpur, right? But now you have a little bit of grey in your beard, so I'm sure. At what age, may I ask, did you become partner?
31.
Yeah, that's quite young. But now you have a lot of grey in your beard, so I think clients wouldn't look at you ki ye koi bacha hai. Especially then after they see your work, I'm sure then you charm them for sure.
Yeah,
But that's a very interesting way to look at it, where you give us your smallest and most challenging task.
Correct. So if you ask me the hallmark of my practice and what makes us different, I would say my entire relationship is built on genuineness, no overcommitment, no over promise or something. Next is trust. You need to build that trust, and which happens over a period of time. That's why I'm saying smallest and the toughest job. So once you will get the deliverable, once you will know the quality, you will come back to us, right? So, I mean, the relationship which we have built over a period of time, I mean, I'm very thankful to all the clients who have supported us throughout this journey, all the mentors who have sort of, trained us. But I mean, that is what I think, that the entire relationship is built on that trust and genuineness, and obviously the value addition which you bring.
So I'm going to close with a two-part question. First part is, personally, from building out your tax practice, Give me your goals and your vision for the next 5 years for yourself and your firm. And secondly, for India as a tax jurisdiction, give me your goals and your vision for the next 5 years.
So I'll answer your second question first, because the first is ultimately dependent on the second question.
Sure.
So, in India now, like I said, there are a lot of new businesses, new transactions happening, and there is a need for skilled tax professionals a lot. Because, till few years back, tax was always a cost center for the businesses. Suddenly it has become, it has taken the center stage, and businesses are now investing in building their in-house tax teams as well. So, there's a huge need for skilled tax professionals, especially who have the ability to balance out between the business exigencies, business requirements, and the legal provisions. Because you cannot ignore the business. We as tax advisors, or when we are in litigation also, we always need to strike out the balance between the business and the law. So I think till the time that is there, the practice and I am secured.
What is your vision for the tax practice and for the firm White and Brief in the next 5 years?
So I think in the last 4 years, we have been delivering good work. I think the future looks promising. We are working with, all the big players in almost every industry today. So, clients have shown a lot of trust in us. We are working closely with government also on many mandates, various departments of governments, various ministries. So it looks very promising. So the idea and the goal would be to probably just keep doing the good work, probably, delivering what you commit. And then rest of the things I think happen automatically.
But isn't it tough to be in a space where there's so many large established law firms? There's of course the big four, but even India has so many. You worked with some of these law firms in the past. How do you compete or build out a fresh tax practice? What do you have to do to stand out in a market that's already so competitive and quite saturated?
So, I mean, in our case, what we do and what our mantra is, we are like a one-stop solution. Wherever, when you come to us for a compliance, if there's any litigation related aspect or if there's any advocacy related aspect, we can assist you that as well. So you will have only one point of contact. You will have one person, one team who has all the data, because tax now has become very data centric practice. So, without any hassle, without much involvement from the in-house team, we can drive the entire thing. So I think that is one thing which makes us different. Second, obviously, like I said, innovative and some tailor-made solutions. I mean, if you have to go for a litigation, we will not only go for litigation, but we will also analyze at least that, is there any opportunity where we can go for any advocacy related efforts just to foreclose the matter. So, all those innovative things, I think that is what we keep on doing on a daily basis.
I think what I'm hearing is personalized attention and tailor-made solutions.
That's right.
Which is fantastic, I think. On that note, thank you so much for your time, Prateek. This has been a wonderful discussion.
Thank you.
We took up a lot of your time to discuss a lot of our issues. Thank you for giving us this time.
Thank you, ET Legal, for again having me here. It has been a wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, and signing off.